motherhood gets such a bad rap, and it's secondary to everything else we do. Hello, folks. Welcome to episode 2 of the podcast. I'm in my new, not new office, but we've just fixed up the spare room / office. So I have a permanent place to do my podcast from now. So that means I can just jump on and get them done. So, which is really good. But it does mean I'm not sure how my shelves back there are still a little bare. I'm not sure how the lighting's going or anything like that. So bear with me. But I'm really happy that this is set up now. My husband is amazing. He's very patient. And he's worked quite hard to get this set up for me so that, I can do these things. So I'm really blessed to have him, and he's very clever. And just seeing him problem solve the challenges, nothing's too big a deal. It's just incredible. Today, I want to talk about why I have this podcast and who's in my mind when I'm speaking about this podcast. So really it's primarily for mothers, but look, seriously, I think for women in general, because I just think there's a lot of pressure on women today. And a lot of it comes from ourselves. And I think a lot of us are feeling that pressure and tired, and we're trying to do all and be all, and it's not fulfilling. It's just wearing us out. It's making us tired and cranky. And I know that that's not how God meant things for us. That's not how he created, how he created us to be. It's not what he meant for women and mothers to be. And really, I'm speaking from a place because I have seen God heal me in so many things and change me, like literally change me. So I met my husband when I was 35, and I've actually known who he was since I was like 20. And people have said, why didn't you just get married like back then? Why didn't you? And I've always said, well, he wouldn't like who I was back then. I wasn't the same person I am now. I wasn't as nice. If I am nice now, I don't know, but I wasn't that nice. I was insecure. I was judgmental. I was, I guess, a little bitter as well, just with my outlook on things. I had quite a negative things. So he wouldn't have liked me anyway. It wouldn't have been good. God had to do a lot of work in me to prepare me for him. And, I'm sure, and for him as well, I'm sure. But, so I'm speaking from that place because I've seen God do a lot in my life. I've seen him free me from so many things that were just holding me back and making me miserable. And that's what I desire for women out there. And that's why I'm using this podcast to basically share what God's been teaching me and share that with you to help you. And I'm also really passionate about mothering because motherhood gets such a bad rap, and it's secondary to everything else we do, the way it's viewed in society. And we need to elevate motherhood and bring it back to the place where it should be, where it should be honored and respected. And it is a tough gig. It is the toughest gig I've ever done, but it's also the most fulfilling and most rewarding. So that's where this podcast is coming from. So we are going to be talking about a lot of things. And I say we because my daughters will be on here sometimes as well. We're going to be talking about things that may affect women and girls like individually, those sort of issues. And then we're talking about things that are directly related to mothers, sometimes directly related to teenage girls, because I've got the girls are teenagers. We have some experience with that. Sometimes we will just be sharing resources that we find really useful. So books and things that have really helped me. And sometimes we'll just be sharing stuff that's fun. Because as a mum, one thing I'm very active in doing is looking for books or movies that we can enjoy as a family that that I feel aren't corrupting our minds. So that makes that sound really boring. But no, there's a lot of good content out there now. We're living in a very blessed era now where we have a lot of access to Christian movies and books that are high quality now, which didn't exist before. So I'm really grateful for those artists out there that are pursuing their God-given gifts and using them for His glory. So sometimes we will just be sharing stuff like that, movies and books that we enjoy, so that you can enjoy them with your family and bring them into into your homes, and spend that time with them. So that's where this podcast is coming from. And the other thing I really want to encourage is for mums and women to heal from their past and to stop the generational stuff that just goes on and on in our families. It needs to stop with us so that we can raise our families from a healed place and we can stop the cycles. That's the other thing that I'm really passionate about, and what God's really helped me with, because half the time we don't realize the stuff that's in our families that is affecting us and then that we are unknowingly passing on. So that sort of thing as well, really, so that we can raise our healthy kids, so that our kids don't have to deal with that stuff, and then they can live the life that God's called them to do and be more effective Christians in this world. And that's the other thing, what has really driven me too, is I grew up in a church, and so many of the kids I grew up with, they're not walking with God anymore. And as a mother, I've always thought, okay, what do we need to do to make sure that doesn't happen with our kids? So, not that I have hard and fast answers here, not that, I believe there's foolproof methods, but when we bring God into the center and allow Him to heal us and guide us, then, He makes a way for all of these things to be possible. So that's where I come from a lot in that. A bit about my background. So I've mentioned my daughters. So we have two daughters. They're currently aged 16 and 14. And then we also have a 6-year-old son. So we're bridging quite a scale of age groups at the moment, and that's very interesting and challenging. And sometimes I'll be talking about that as well. And now we have a boy after having 2 girls. That's completely different as well. I was also a single mother for 7 years. So single mums, stick around, because I get you. I've been there and I've seen God do amazing things. My single motherhood years were like the most precious years to me, and the most beautiful that I've had with Jesus. So, stick around as well, because I'll be talking about that. So that's where this podcast is coming from. I want to remind you that Jesus really values women, and He values mothers. You know those stories in the Bible about, even though we can feel like most of the stories about men, but there are very key women in the Bible, and many of them are in Jesus's lineage. So you think of Ruth and Tamar, after what was done to her, and Rahab and things. They're all women in Jesus's lineage. When Jesus was on the cross, in His agony, taking on the sins of the world, He thought of His mother. He said to John, "This is your mother." And to his mother, "This is your son." He was making provision for her. He knew how hard that was for her. And so even in his greatest agony there on the cross, He was thinking of His mother. He values mothers. In Isaiah, where is it now? I've got it on here. Isaiah 40 verse 11, depending on your version, it says that he gently leads those that are nursing, or some versions say he gently leads those with young. All right. So Jesus cares about women, and he cares about how they feel. And because we know we feel, and we as women, we hold this great weight that cannot be seen by the world, and that is the emotional weight. And but that means we also have a huge impact on this world, and that's what I really want to pass on to my children as well, and help others to see that motherhood is really important, and it's so powerful. And we need to go back to really valuing that. Now, I am not, just in case, I'm not a stay-at-home mum who is cooking everything from scratch and homeschooling and all of that. That's not who I am at all. So I don't want us all to go the other way. Look, if that's you and that suits you, it's great. It doesn't suit me. I'm not wired that way. So I do work. I work from home. I do have a business from home. I don't homeschool. My kids go to school. And they, so that's the picture of my motherhood. I'm not painting a particular kind of motherhood, basically. I just want to encourage women to seek what God wants for them. And because God made us all differently, I am an introvert, and I will be speaking more about that too, because I think introvertism gets a really bad rap and is misunderstood. So check that. That's going to be in one of the next episodes very soon. But we're all wired differently. We've all been through different things, and our experiences and our trauma that we've had in our lives impacts how we are as mothers today. And Jesus sees all of that, and he doesn't expect us to take on more than we should. So for me, I haven't always worked from home. While the kids Zanae and Liana were really little, I didn't work. I tried. I'll be explaining about that later too. But God wouldn't let me. I didn't work. So I had several years just at home with them. So basically, I think as mothers, our lives ebb and flow. And we basically have to go with the flow. Be flexible with that. For what's best for you as a mother and for your family, you've got to be flexible with that. And I believe that if we bring that to God, he will provide a way for that. And he'll provide our needs. Like I've just seen so much, and that's what I want to share with you in this podcast. And then at the same time, equipping our children to know the Lord and to follow him and to trust him, and then to live the life that God's called them to live and not what the world is putting on them. Because I think as mums, we fight that every day. The world wants to label our children, wants to force them in a certain direction. It wants to control the way they think. And as mums, parents, we need to step in and make sure that we're bringing them before God, and we're teaching them to listen to God and how to respond to him and all of that. So that may not be, I don't know that there's anything for you in this podcast except to explain where I'm going with this. And, if you have, if you've got something you'd like me to talk about, go to my website, helenrosenzweig.com, use the contact form, send me a message, and I can talk about some of these things that if you wanting to know about something. So if you are interested to hear about these things I'm going to talk about, please do subscribe. Yes, it does help me, as in it'll help then others to see this content, to help them. So really helping me, helping you. But it will also mean you'll get notified when I release the new content. I also have a newsletter that if you go to helenrosenzweig.com/newsletter, then you can sign up there and get monthly updates. I think that's it for today. I hope that you are, that something that I've said resonates with you and you're keen to explore more about this, that you're keen to grow as a woman in Christ. If you don't know Christ, I hope you'll stick around and listen to more what I have to say, because he is a game changer. He is absolutely the game changer, and he is everything. And he makes everything worthwhile. He puts everything into perspective, and he provides, and he provides, and he empowers us, and he just loves us. Like, particularly like when you've not necessarily been in a place where you've felt a lot of love. Jesus is the definition of love. So stick around so you can hear more about him as well, just through what he's done in my life. So I will see you in the next episode, I hope.